My dear friends, once again, we are having a nice time together and wonderful time and very rare opportunity, especially in this serious and critical period. Still we can meet, still we can talk, still we can share a lot of things with it. Even though we cannot do anything else, but we can meditate together. That's enough. And now we come to the group discussion, Q&A session. I would like to invite to my dear friend Paul to lead the discussion. Dear Paul, please.
Good evening. I would like to suggest, good evening, Upul. I would like to suggest that you can ask your question directly, but if you prefer, you can also make use of the chat function at the bottom of your screen and simply type your question there and maybe direct it to me or to Upul. I received one question already, and I'm going to read it out to you. Angie asked, and what do people think when they meditate for long periods of time? I have this question for Upul. It is impossible to think of nothing, a false target, Angie says. So her question is, what do people think when they meditate for a long time? I have this question for Upul. It is impossible to think of nothing. That is a false target. So, Upul, the question is directed to you. So, please.
Well, thank you very much for forwarding this question to me. The question is very right, but the direction is maybe not right. Well, of course, you can think about nothing. We can always think about nothing. Even we don't have to meditate for a long period of time to think about nothing. Well, I think your question is asking something like this. Can we not to think? Can we not to think? Or can we switch off the mind with a long and deep meditation practice? Is this the target or the goal or result of meditation? If I am right, or if I am correctly understand your question in this way, then the answer is yes and no. Yes means, yes, thinking is a tool. It's a tool. So with meditation, we are learning to use this very important tool wisely and skillfully. So that is one of the training what we are learning by meditation, by meditating, how to think wisely, how to think skillfully, and where is the full stop. This is the other important thing. Yes, I have thought about this. It's enough. Full stop. So in this way, of course, if there is no need to think about anything, then we do not have to make any intention to think about unnecessary things. Sorry. So therefore, with meditation, we can get this ability to moderate and regulate our thinking. And no, I said no, because that is not the real goal of meditation. The real goal of meditation is not to suffer because of whatever, because of thoughts or because of thinking or because of no thinking, non-thinking, not to suffer, not to make ourselves stress, not to be disappointed. So they are the goals of meditation. They are targets of meditation, not to make ourselves suffer. Therefore, thinking is a neutral thing. Wise thinking causes joy and freedom, and unwise thinking causes suffering and disappointments. I hope I answered to your question. If not, please ask this question again and direct it to Paul, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Upul, for your answer. Is there...
This is Angela. I'm the one that asked the question. That's a wonderful answer. Thank you very much. But it would be nice to have your answer also, Paul, as you come from a different part of the world. I wanted to compare the answer also from an Asian point of view and a European point of view. Do you mind?
Angela, can I ask you something? I see several people have difficulty with understanding what you said, and I also have difficulty with understanding. So please, can you type your question down in the chat box and direct it to me, please? Then I can read it out, and then it is understandable for everybody. Is that possible?
Yes.
Thank you. So in the meantime, while you do that, we'll be waiting for your question, and maybe somebody else would like to ask something. Please feel free.
Yeah, the first thing is thoughts, they are unable to disturb us.
Okay.
Yeah. We are disturbing ourselves. We ourselves disturb us. So that's why we have to meditate to learn how to not to disturb ourselves because of whatsoever, not only because of thoughts, because of sounds, because of sensations, because of what others are doing, or because of what others are not doing, whatsoever. So finally, it is up to us. Are we disturbing ourselves or not? We should not hand over this responsibility onto anything else or anyone else. So this is the very first thing. And the second thing, when you ask this question in the first time, you mentioned something else as well, that sometimes we cannot control our thinking. So thinking is going on, and I told to the first question that with meditation we are learning to use this thinking ability wisely and skillfully. So that means sometimes there are mechanical thinkings are going on. That's true. So automatic thinking and intentional thinking. So there are two kinds of thinking. We had to understand these two types of thinkings: automatic thinking and intentional thinking. So with meditation, we are learning to do intentional thinking. And we had to be aware on automatic thinking. Whenever mind itself starts to think about whatsoever, we can be aware and we withdraw ourselves from that automatic thinking. So whenever we withdraw ourselves from automatic thinking, then the mind itself cannot go further, because mind needs some fuel and some a driver. So unfortunately, we become a driver to our mind to drive the mind wherever it wants to go and wherever we don't want to go. So with meditation, we are aware, mind starting to think about this, and then at the same time, we can do some wise reflection. Is this the right time? If the answers are no, 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 then we can simply withdraw ourselves from that thinking. We are not going to control it. We are not going to suppress it. We simply withdraw ourselves. We simply let go of the interest of that thinking. Then that automatic thinking is stopping by itself sooner or later.
In the meantime, I received a typed question from Angie or Angela. I will read it. For you, Paul, please give your views as a European about thinking of nothing during meditation. I don't mean what type of thoughts. I mean how to eliminate thoughts at all. Note, type of thoughts can be cultural. So I will repeat the question for you, Paul. Please give your views as a European about thinking or thinking of nothing during meditation. I don't mean what type of thoughts, I mean how to eliminate all thoughts. Note, type of thoughts can be cultural. Okay, so the question was directed to me. As Upul said before, meditation is not about not thinking. Meditation is not about eliminating thoughts. Meditation is not about keeping the mind free from content, keeping the mind free from movement. Thoughts arise. There is nothing wrong with that. Meditation does not mean making thoughts your enemy, fighting them, wanting to chase them away, sending them away, saying, I don't want you, get out of my mind. I keep the door closed for you. That is not what meditation is about. Meditation is not about keeping the mind thought free or keeping the mind empty or developing that void in the mind or that spaciousness in the mind. That is not what meditation is about. What meditation is about is it is about giving attention. It is about being aware. It is about knowing what is happening or being conscious of what is happening. That is what meditation is about. Developing that quality, not the quality of an empty mind, but the quality of knowing, of being attentive, of seeing clearly what is happening in the mind and in the body and around us. And by doing that, as Mandy referred to in her question previously, by doing that we establish ourselves in the present moment, in the here and now. You can only be aware of what is happening here and now. And by being in the here and now, the attention is not drawn or pulled into an imaginary future or an imaginary past. And that is when a quality of stillness or silence or thought-freeness can arise spontaneously by itself. But it is not the goal, it is not something that we strive for. It is not our objective. We do not meditate to become thought-free. We meditate to develop the quality of attention, including thoughts that come and go, without differentiating, this is okay, this is not okay, without judging, this is good, this is bad, without grasping or rejecting, I want this, I don't want that. So meditation is this quality of looking at whatever arises and accepting whatever arises, including thoughts. And by doing so, there is an openness that is a result of that. There is a receptivity that comes with that attitude of allowing everything to be just as it is, without any preferences, without any preconceived ideas, this is good, this is bad. I should not think. I've been meditating so long and there are still thoughts coming. It's okay. Thoughts are okay. Nothing wrong with thoughts. So it's not a matter of pushing them away. It's not a matter of chasing them away, of turning them into our enemy. It is embracing whatever arises. It is welcoming whatever arises. And by doing so, they can come and they can go. And we don't give them power. They lose their impact on the mind. They lose their strength on the mind, not because we reject them, but because we allow them. We even invite them. Please come. So you can check for yourself what the result of that is, of that attitude. Please come. I am simply here, open to whatever happens. I am simply watching, I am simply observing, I am simply aware. So by doing that, this dominance, or even you could call it tyranny of thought, loosens, gets less and less and less by itself as a side effect, but it is not the goal. It is not what we strive for. In meditation, we simply see, we simply look, we are aware. Is there a thought? Okay. Is there no thought? Okay. Is there an emotion? Okay. Is there no emotion? Also okay. So it is that basic inviting an open attitude that we develop. Not a mind free from thoughts. So, Anya or Angie or Angela, was that an answer to your question? And the answer, she answers me, yes, thanks. Now I have several questions in the chat box. To develop gentleness and tendencies more and more in this tough society, doesn't it make us very vulnerable to become a victim of people who are misusing it? That's a very interesting question, very related to the topic of today's meditation day. I'll read it again, and Upul, maybe you can share your views about this. So the question is, to develop gentleness and tendencies like gentleness, more and more in this tough, in this hard society, doesn't that make us very, very vulnerable to become a victim of people who are misusing that?
Well, thank you, dear Paul. Well, yeah, of course, it can happen. We have been abused by many, by our own karma. We ourselves abused us. And the culture, the system, the climate, and people. So I don't think that no one can be 100% free from all kinds of abuse. Anyway, being gentle is not only for others. We have to be gentle towards ourselves as well. So equal gentleness. This is very important. Please do not forget yourself, or please do not ignore yourself. Give equal value and equal place for yourself and for others. So whenever you realize that by being gentle and gentle and gentle, that you come to your limit, you come to your border, and if you go further, then it may harmful for yourself. Then you better to step back. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong to say, no, I'm sorry. I can't tolerate anymore. I can't bear this anymore. I'm sorry. So it is not something hard or tough, or it is not a harassment to say, I can't, I cannot, I am sorry. I can remember one small incident. A small kid, he loves very much his grandfather. And whenever grandfather comes home, he jumps. He's a 2-year-old kid. He jumps onto a lap of grandfather and hugs him, and he said, I love you so much, my dear grandfather. And grandfather, he doesn't come alone. He comes with his wife, this kid's grandmother. But this kid doesn't say, I love you, my dear grandmother, at all. So each day, this grandmother asks this kid, dear kid, I also love to hear this. Hug me and tell me, I love you, my dear grandmother, very much. But he didn't do. And this goes for a couple of times. And one day, when they came to visit this kid, as usually, he jumps into the grandfather's lap and hugs and said, I love you so much, my dear grandfather. And he immediately jumps onto the grandmother's lap and hugs her and said, I do not love you at all. That's all. No angry in his voice. Not at all. No angry. He didn't say, I hate you. He simply expressed his nature, his present feeling. I do not love you. So we don't have to, we have to be angry to tell this, I don't love you? No. We can be gentle and we can be honest. We can be genuine. So this is the quality and skill what we are trying to cultivate with meditation. To accept our limit and to respect our limits. And whenever people are crossing the borders, to say, no, I'm sorry, and stepping back.
There is something that went through my mind when I read the question. I would like to add something to what Upul just said. Something that was very helpful for me a couple of years ago, when I thought I always have to be 100% honest with everybody. I always have to be authentic and truthful in all situations. Or referring to the question, I always should have these feelings of gentleness and metta towards everybody in any situation. And then I heard somebody using the term selective authenticity. Selective authenticity. I think it is wise that I see in which situations and with which people I can open my heart. And in which situations it is better not to do that, simply to protect myself, because the level of consciousness of those people does simply not allow it for me to do that without being hurt. So sometimes it is better to take a distance, or as Upul said in the guided meditation, to respect my boundaries. Sometimes it is necessary to do that. It is, as has been said before, gentleness towards oneself. It is simply wise to see in which situation, with which people can I open my heart, can I be gentle, can I be 100% truthful, can I be friendly, and in which situations is that not a good idea? I think that is wisdom, or discriminative wisdom, as it is sometimes called. So gentleness does not mean allowing other people to take advantage of you. Gentleness does not mean becoming a victim. Gentleness means that you, or implies that you can see clearly. Now, in this situation, I can do that. And in this situation, it is better to keep a certain distance to protect myself and thereby be gentle towards myself. So Venerable sister, I don't know if that, what Upul said and what I said, was an answer to your question. Thank you. There are a couple of more questions in the chat box. Very truthful here, very useful what Ewan Arnold, who's a long-term friend, Nilambe friend, and an ex-student of Godwin, also said, I remember Godwin saying that we can be gentle, but we don't need to be a doormat. So there's a difference between being gentle and being a doormat. And then there is a question from Ranjana. There are several questions actually from Ranjana. The first one is, Dear Upul, how to find a healthy mix of goals and targets for a balanced, gentle life? Do we need to reflect on our current goals constantly? So I will repeat the question. Dear Upul, how to find a healthy mix of goals and targets for a balanced, gentle life? Do we need to reflect on our current goals constantly? There is a second question of Ranjana. Maybe it is connected with the first one. I'll have a look. No, that's a question basically. So Upul, the question is directed to you. So please.
Well, dear Rangana, as I said earlier that it is not possible to live without having a target or goal. It is not possible. We have short-term targets and long-term targets and lifetime goals, maybe life after life goals. So that's the life. Goals and targets are part of our life. It's impossible to think about a life without a goal, without a target, without an expectation, without an intention. So that's the reality. Yeah, ideally or intellectually or theoretically, we can imagine if no aims, no targets, no expectations, then no problem. But practically, it is not possible. Even it's an expectation. Not to have any expectation is an expectation. So as you mentioned, it's important to balance our life. That means who makes targets and aims for me? So we better to ask this question. Who makes this target for me? Who makes that goal for me? Who makes? Are we allowing the society or the system or the culture or the religion to make aims and targets for myself? Or other way, is the society deciding what I have to do, where I have to go? Or the system or the culture, whatever? So if yes, I am not the person who makes decisions for myself. Others, then of course, we cannot do anything. Then we are like, we are victims. We are like puppets. With meditation, we can see all those ideas as suggestions. The society can suggest me what I can do. So it is just a suggestion. Others can suggest me where I have to go. But the decision I had to make, I myself had to make. So if we can get back this responsibility onto our hands, only then we can balance this. Only then we can, as you said, we can reflect on all those suggestions. It doesn't matter that suggestion comes from outside or inside, doesn't matter. We can reflect on them, and we can ask this question from each suggestion: do I really need it? What's wrong now? I am here, I am not there. So what's wrong? I don't have this. So what's wrong? So we better to take some time to stay with ourselves without that achievement. I still didn't achieve it, but what's wrong? Did I miss something? This is a meditation. So when we do this meditation with some time, only then we can select, as Paul said, this is a very beautiful word, select. So we can select necessary and important and useful targets. And others, they are just suggestions. They are not targets. We can simply let them go. That is very possible, and that is very important to balance our life with goals and targets. It is possible.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
There is no new question in the chat box. Is there anybody who would like to ask a question directly? Please feel free.
I would like to ask a question. Hi, Gitte. Out of curiosity, when you said earlier this morning, Upul, that you were asked about the stages and it didn't make sense, and you were asked about the colors, it also didn't make sense. I'm curious, how do you experience your way of being today differently than way back when you were not experienced in meditation? Actually, both of you, because both of you have been meditating for so long. So how have you noticed a difference in your way of being when you look back?
Okay, Gitte, I hope I understood the question well. I'll repeat it in my own words. You said, Upul, you have not seen special colors, you did not have special experiences in your meditation practice, but how did meditation change the way you you were, or what is the effect of this life on you? Is that correct? Okay, Upul, I'm also curious to hear your answer.
Oh, me too. Well, on one hand, to be honest, I do not have this thought or idea at all. I have been meditating for a long time. Really, I don't have. Whenever I sit for meditation or whenever I walk in meditation, whenever I do walk in meditation, or whenever I watch my thoughts or whatever, I do not have this thought. I have been meditating for that much time. So more and more, when I meditate, more and more I have this idea, this is the first time I am meditating. This is the first time I am watching my breath. I am being with myself. So I had to make some effort to remember the past. But it doesn't mean that I cannot remember. I can remember. I can remember some experiences, some meetings, some gatherings. Of course, they are there. But there is no real link. The meditation doesn't create any history. No history for meditator. But of course, you have memories. You can say, oh, I have been in Nilambe, I have been in that place, I was meditating with that teacher or this teacher. We can say, of course. But they are in a different level. In the deep level, no history for meditation. No history. And so I can remember when I started to meditate, as I mentioned you, that with the books, I started to meditate, and in the textbooks explains everything in a short form in Buddhist textbooks. If you meditate, then you are in the first state, and if you meditate further, then second stage, third and fourth. So all takes only 4 sentences. And in the very beginning, I thought, oh, how easy and how simple. If I meditate today and then tonight, I'll be in the first stage. So with this great ambition, I was meditating. But at the night, I was same person. And I thought, no, tomorrow, if I meditate tomorrow all day, then I could be a different one. And I did. According to the books, it's only a gap is very small, very little in between 2 sentences. But nothing happened. And I thought, if I meditate all night, then next morning, I could be an enlightened one. But no, same Upul. So I thought, no, I had to meditate more. One day may not enough, maybe 1 week. So I thought, if I meditate whole week, then the next week, I could be an enlightened one. No, after 1 week, same. Of course, meditation gives me some peace, tranquility, that's all. But I couldn't be an enlightened one. So then I little bit, make a long term target, maybe 3 months. And after 3 months, maybe 1 year. So target goes away from me. And finally, I cannot see the target now. Now I cannot see the target. And I am really happy if I can be in the present. That's more than enough. If something is going to happen, let it happen. If nothing is going to happen, that's okay too. So this is my situation. I think Paul has a different experiences and answers.
Thank you very much, Upul. I found it a beautiful answer that you gave. I find it a difficult question, actually. Upul was talking about all these stages and experiences that are described in books. And in the beginning, I felt quite intimidated by them. I thought, I'm not having all that, I'm not doing it good, I'm not doing it right. And all these technical books on the meditation practice, I very quickly let them aside. So as I said before, for me, meditation means being aware, giving attention, which is the same as being here and now. And well, I want to share a very small experience. At the moment, I'm in quarantine. I have COVID-19. I am here in a quarantine hotel in Negombo, 3 more nights. I have been sick. I've been quite sick. Especially no energy and feeling exhausted and fever. But somehow I've it's okay. It is okay. So the sense I am getting, if you ask that question, what is the result of your meditation practice all these years? Then I would say things are okay. Whatever happens, it's always okay. Something like that. There is a basic okayness. It's always fine. So of course, I hope that tomorrow I have another PCR test tomorrow morning. Of course, I hope it will be negative. And if it's positive, then that's how it is. Then I'll simply have to wait a little longer. It doesn't help if I get anxious or if I get angry with the people that have maybe I was in the company of certain people and that's how I got it. I have no idea. So all these stories, they don't help me. They are losing their impact actually. So maybe I can say that I am more okay with things as they are. something like that. That feels like a truthful answer. And I would like to, if it's okay with Upul and with everybody, I would like to ask Ewan also if he has to share something. As I said before, Ewan is a very good friend and a real Dhamma brother. He has been a student of Godwin for many years, and he also conducts retreats in Nilambe. So Ewan, I'm sure you have something interesting and helpful to say about this.
The first thing thank you, Paul. Yeah, the first thing I wanted to say was I wrote down before you spoke almost exactly what you said. My life is okay as it is, whether I'm ill, whether I'm stuck in the house, whatever happens. Use the word okayness. The other thing I think, which also relates to what Upul said earlier. When I started off meditating, if I can remember back, I was fairly sure where I was going with it. I had some goals that I wanted to achieve. I thought I knew what I was doing. The longer I meditate, the less those things seem to be important. It doesn't seem so important to know why I'm doing things and why I'm meditating and why I'm teaching. I rely much more on what's coming up in this moment, rather than carrying a lot of ideas around about how things should be, I think. Yeah. I think that's all I would like to say at the moment.
Thank you very much, Ewan. Gita, is that a satisfying answer?
Oh, more than satisfying. Thank you all so much. So much. So wise. And what I can tell from your presence is that you are so present. And just what you just said, you're not going anywhere. You just are here. And it sounds so simple. And it's not always, but it's I can sense that you are present. We can from outside, I can sense being present and being here and being attentive, and then a sense of humor as well, a sense of not knowing where things are bringing you, and it's okay, as you say. So I'll take all of it with me in my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have time enough for one last question. So if anybody feels like this is my chance, I would like to ask this, please go ahead. Okay, friends, it seems that everything is clear that has been said. I would like to end this session with something practical before Upul can maybe conclude with the last reflection or meditation. I would like to say something very practical that can be useful. For thousands of years, the Dhamma has been transferred without charging anything for it. India has a thousands of years old tradition of spiritual seekers, spiritual wanderers, world renouncers, people who left their home, their family, in search for meaning, in search for a satisfactory life. So this is a pre-Buddhist tradition, and the Buddha grew up, Siddhartha grew up in that environment of spiritual seekers who renounced the world, practicing, doing spiritual practices in the forests of northern India, the southern Nepal. And he himself was also a beggar, a wandering mendicant, I think the English term is. So the Buddha and his monks and nuns went on alms round every day, and they lived from what the people gave them. So they didn't charge for spreading the Dhamma. They didn't say you have to pay so much money. It was given freely, and they were provided by society with whatever they needed. And that tradition is still happening. So many of you have been in Sri Lanka or maybe Thailand or Burma, where you have seen monks and nuns going on a daily alms round. It is a beautiful tradition that we in the West don't know. We are not familiar with it. And it's very much a part of Asia, of the East, and of the Buddhist tradition. So what I simply want to mention is that if you would like to contribute something to Nilambe or to Upul in person, that's also possible, you can make a donation. There is no fixed amount of money charged for this retreat, but we would be very grateful if you would want to donate something. And you find the bank account number of the lady who organized this retreat, one of the ladies, I have to say, Mar Churado from Spain. And you can find her bank account number in the invitation letter. So if you would like to, you can put something on that bank account number. Mar is also in Sri Lanka, and she will give whatever she receives to Upul in person, as she has done in the past. So that is something that I would like to say to end this session. Thank you already very much for your generosity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear Paul, for your kindness towards Nilambe and towards myself. Dear friends, anyhow, we are coming to the end of the program slowly and gently. And we have another 25 minutes something. We have few choices, but all are up to you. One thing is we can meditate in silence. We can do another meditation. And we can end up the session quietly. And the second option is we can do some kind of sharing. We can talk freely and share our experiences, our understanding, our difficulties with each other, because we all are here as friends, as family members, as members of Nilambe family. So this is the second option. So what's your choice?
I think somebody answered. I receive let me see, several answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 people say number 2, which means sharing. And then 1, 2, 3 people. Three people say meditation. So mixed ideas, Upul. And somebody suggests, can we vote by hand signs? So that's the score at the moment. 3 people are in favor of meditation, and now 4 people are in favor of meditation, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people are in favor of sharing, and somebody says the last message, half.
So half can meditate and half can share. But we have still time, 20 minutes for voting. Anyway, yeah, we can do some 10 minutes sharing and 10 minutes meditation. So please do start sharing. Claudia, I didn't hear you today at all. Very quiet, like an enlightened one.
I gave the introduction, Upul. I introduced you. You must have heard that, I guess.
Yeah, that's all. And then
Yeah. I can share about experience with working with people with dementia, which is my job at the moment. And yeah, I feel that's really a great, they are great teachers, like children, because in a way their brain is degenerating. So in a way they go back into the state of like children. And very much like Upul described the story with a 2-year-old child. They say very directly what they feel and what they think. So they are very good mirrors. So I'm very honest, and I'm very grateful to work with them. And yeah, it's very challenging to I can really train this train patience and with very gentleness with them very well. Just last, we have a lady, when I bring her to bed, 10 minutes later she will stand in her nightdress again on the floor. And last time I had to bring her to bed 6 times or something like that. And each time, because she forgets, have to be as friendly as the first time. So I can really train my patience and see how gentle I can still be at the 6th time. Oh yeah, it's really, really great training. It's not easy, but I'm very grateful for this job.
thank you, Claudia. And I think they are very really fortunate and lucky to have a person like you to take care of them.
I don't know, sometimes maybe, and sometimes not. Okay, thank you.
Any more sharings?
Well, I can go next. Thank you, Claudia. And yes, they are very lucky they have you. Definitely. It's so inspiring. I'm working in this institution with children who are placed there because their parents cannot take care of them. And that is the same thing. They say whatever comes into their mind, and it's not always kind, but it's very honest and direct, and you get immediate feedback if you are not aware of them. So they are also my constant teachers in a way, my most valuable teachers. Well, I would like to express my gratitude for this opportunity. I really feel, as you say, Upul, it is a family, a Nilambe family, and I'm just so grateful that this has been made possible. it's a huge help just to experience this. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, Gita. Thank you. Any more sharings?
Yeah, I just it's well reflected further on. It's a topic I'm constantly reflecting on my work, of course, because there's so much yeah I can learn from, and this came to me today because you were talking about goals and targets and things like that. Yeah, when we grow old, like these old people, and very sick, yeah, I think most people, when they are still a little bit aware of this, they start to feel very useless and feel very sad about that because they are cannot contribute to the society anymore in a way. And they were very active. Most of the people were very active in their lives. They were mothers, fathers, teachers, managers, whatever. And now they are old and sit in a wheelchair and things like that. But yeah, as I just said, in a way we can learn so much from them. So I think they are not at all useless. Like as well, children, they are so small and they don't know about the world, but we can learn so much from them actually. So they are not at all useless. But it's always a matter of perspective. Huh? So it's about what story do I tell myself? So these old people, of course, if they still have awareness, they tell themselves the story: I'm useless. I can't do anything anymore now. I'm not lovable, and so on. I'm ugly. Very often I hear them saying I'm ugly, which is as well so sad because I find often they are so cute, so sweet. So it's all about the stories that we tell ourselves that makes us suffering. That's what I can as well learn from them, and yeah, that's just another reflection that came to me today.
Just what Claudia said, how much suffering is caused by the part of the mind that wants to measure ourselves, that wants to judge ourselves all the time against some criteria. Am I useful? Am I meeting my goals or whatever? something to notice when you're judging yourself, when you're measuring against some standard, some goal, some idea of how things should be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing what Claudia mentioned at the end, that they are cute and beautiful, but they think they are ugly. And they suffer. So this is one of the best examples to prove that we are suffering unnecessarily. In the reality, there is no cause for suffering. And we don't need any cause, real cause for suffering, to suffer. We can imagine and then we can suffer. So imaginations cause suffering. That's why it is very possible to overcome our suffering. So we come to a very good conclusion. Thank you, dear Claudia. Bring all of us to this very beautiful and very profounding conclusion. With this conclusion, let us be silent for a while, for a couple of minutes, maybe for 10 minutes. Let ourselves, let our heart and mind and consciousness to realize this very important and wise conclusion. Let us meditate together. We all are in the same silence.
Too silent, please.
My dear friends, everything has a beginning as well as an end. It is this law or nature is valid for everything, for everybody, even for retreats. And officially, this one-day retreat is over now. This is the end. And the other beautiful thing is some of ends have new beginning. So therefore, ends are not really ends. And I hope and I wish from bottom of my heart, this retreat, what we have done all together, help all of us to have new beginning. And dear Mark, I don't have any words to express my gratitude towards you to organize this retreat and do all kinds of coordination. Even though you are in a very, very difficult situation. And time to time I felt very sorry and I wrote you and say, let's cancel the retreat or postpone. But you said, no, we can do. So I'm very proud of you. And thank you very much, dear Claudia, also to do all kinds of voluntary services to make a beautiful post and do all the other arrangements. And also Birgit is here. Thank you, dear Birgit. Thank you, dear Paul. Anyhow, we haven't finished our karma. So we had to work together. I don't know for how long. So thank you very much for coming to this retreat, even though you are in a difficult situation too. And I'm really happy to see your energy and your personality once again. Dear Yuan, after a long time, even though we are living, you are living the other side of the Nilambe mountain and I am living this side of mountain, but we didn't see each other since a long time. Thank you for coming to this retreat and share your beautiful experiences with all of us. And my dear friends, you didn't think about time differences. Maybe this is night time for you, morning for you, daytime. So once again, I would like to repeat this. I and Nilambe feel we are not alone. And we are so fortunate to have such a beautiful hearts around us. Thank you very much.